everybody. I'm Kelly and
I'm Amy.
and we're the Everyday Epic. So now we are going to talk about a new little possibly series. We'll see how much we enjoy it. Blind date with a book. Which of course the whole blind date king came through with February because we just didn't have enough romance in that month apparently. But blind date with a book. So basically our idea is that we will take a book that was from our favorite genres, that is one of our favorites that we think the other will like to read. So we're trying to be kind to each other and
This time.
this time. We're trying to be kind to each other and not give each other books that we like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna make you read this, but just something we think that they'll enjoy. You just have to try it. Now, before we reveal to each other, we're gonna show you little clips of why we chose what we chose. So, I'll be back in a minute. Hey y'all. Amy's going to come over here in a little bit and we are going to reveal to one another what our picks for each other are in our blind date with a book. So I am here just real quick to let you all in on a preview of what I picked for Amy. And if you've seen any of our recent videos, there's been an Easter egg in there because the book I picked for her has been right up there the whole time. So my pick for Amy is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. And I picked this book because it was one of my winter recs, and the whole time I was talking about it, she kept saying, oh, I'm in. So I know she's interested. I also know that she likes fairy tale retellings. And while this isn't necessarily a retelling, it is very much inspired by Rumpelstiltskin. So I really think she's going to like it. It is one of my favorite books in my favorite genre, and I can't wait to see what she thinks. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye.
Okay. Hey guys, so this is my little clip for picking the blind date with a book for Kelly. So I'm here in front of my bookshelves. Look at how pretty they are. And honestly, there were like a few books that were in the running for which one that I wanted to pick to give to her for this first one, because obviously like I wanted it to be good. I wanted it to be one that she's gonna enjoy, and I decided to go with a book that has some definite like magical and fantastical elements to it. It's a little bit more of like a culturally diverse book, which Kelly does seem to like a little bit more, and it has a really pretty cover and it has a map. So those are things that definitely all like hit Kelly's must-haves for a book. So Children of Blood and Bone is going to be my pick for this first blind date with a book video. I really hope that she likes it. It is a YA series, so we'll see. It's kind of a little bit more tricky to find a good like YA series and stuff that Kelly likes anymore, but I don't know. I think that this one has good potential for sure. I think it could be good. And like, look at the cover, and like I said, there's a map on the inside, so I don't know. It could be good, but yeah, we'll see. And this is like one of my favorite fantasy series, I guess you could call it. Like, I don't know, I really enjoyed this series, so we'll see. Hopefully Kelly enjoys it as well. So we'll see you for the rest of the video.
Okay, we're back. So at this point, we don't know what we picked. We haven't seen those clips of each other, so we don't know what we picked. So we're revealing at this point. So, you ready?
Yes.
You want to go first? You want me to go first? Okay.
Okay.
Should I close my eyes?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know if you've read this or not. Hopefully
Okay.
not.
All right.
This book, it's a part of a series,
Okay.
and I think you're gonna like it. I really do. Like, it has some good magical and fantasy aspects to it.
You didn't pick a horror book? I'm amazed. Okay, cool.
I picked something from like one of your favorite genres.
Okay.
I tried.
All right, I appreciate it.
So,
Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Open my eyes.
I'm ready.
Oh, okay. Not what I had pictured when you were saying that. I thought it was gonna be Cinder.
Really?
I really did. I really did. So she picked Children of Blood and Bone by Toby Adeyemi.
Yes.
Yeah, how you pronounce it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful cover.
Yeah.
I have heard about this book, but I have not read it. So, yeah, cool.
Spoiler: it was one of the hype
Oh,
books
no.
I actually liked.
Oh, okay. Well, there we
Yeah.
go.
So-
All right, very good. So this is my assignment. Oh wow! If there's a map. Oh, I know I'm gonna love it now. You cannot go wrong with a map.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a little bit of like, it's not like basic white book.
Mhm.
Like, there's some culture.
Well,
in this
I'm
book.
guessing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I figured that you would like that too, since
Yeah.
you tend to be a little bit more of a cultured reader than myself. So.
I don't know. I just did another. Well, we're filming again, obviously, but you'll have seen this a couple weeks ago by now. But just admitted to growing up reading Bodice Rippers, so I'm not sure about that. But okay, here we go.
You have grown your reading since those days.
I have moved beyond that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. I'm looking forward to this. All right. Are you ready?
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Do you want-
Close your eyes.
Okay.
Close your eyes. Okay. So what I picked for you is a fantasy book.
Okay.
It is not a fairy tale retelling, but it is inspired by a fairy tale. I have talked about
I
this
like this.
book before, and you were interested.
Oh.
So, go ahead.
Okay. Okay.
I'll let you.
I'm excited about this one. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. This was in our winter reads.
It was one of my
Recommendations?
winter recs. Yeah.
Yes, so, which is exactly what I need when I'm already freezing cold and
Yeah.
hating winter. But you know what? That's okay. I'm still excited to read it.
It will feel good to wrap up in a blanket, get a nice hot cup of tea, and go to town. But this was the it's not a retelling exactly, but it was the Rumpelstiltskin
oh,
inspired.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So
You
yay.
had me at Rumpelstiltskin.
I know. I think that's what you said when I was talking about it before. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Sweet. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
I think we're gonna have a good first time with this.
I think so too.
I think this
I
could
really
be
do.
A little series. This could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
Very good.
our reveals are done.
Yes.
So next time you see us, we're going to be here talking about what we thought
Mhm.
of our little blind dates.
Yeah.
How we think that they went, you know, if there'll be a second date or not.
We will probably throw in some reading vlogs while we're going along
Yeah.
too. So
I'm sure that we will. I'm sure
Um,
that we will.
So that is what we'll be showing you next.
So,
We'll see how it goes. Bye.
bye.
Hey everybody, I'm here to vlog about our blind date with a book, and Amy chose for me Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. There we go. It looks good. I'm kind of excited. Amy thinks I will like it. The premise, from what I understand, and maybe y'all already know this because I guess it's kind of a hyped book, but in this people in this magical land, magic disappears, and then all of the people that could use magic, the magi, were targeted by a ruthless king and killed, so that I guess magic couldn't come back. I'm not sure. I don't know if magic like protected these people, or the way they, I don't know. Anyway, magic disappeared, magic users disappeared, and so there's this history and heritage of the magi, but they no longer exist. However, some people with those bloodlines still exist, and they are persecuted and
there's prejudice against them. Apparently, the main character goes on a quest for some reason to bring magic back, and of course is targeted for various reasons. I'm really not entirely sure what this premise is, other than a quest story. So I don't know. There's part of the description in here that says danger lurks, that the greatest threat may be the main character herself as she struggles to control her powers and her growing feelings for an enemy. So, I mean, the magic stuff sounds cool. Always love a quest story. It's a pretty chunky book, so we might have a good epic fantasy kind of quest story. I'm a little concerned because this is YA, I believe. And, you know, my thing with YA, which I don't read a lot of anymore, they tend to be a little dramatic and a little angsty, and we all know how much I love that. But then that, you know, growing feelings for the enemy kind of gives me some angsty vibes. But I don't know. Amy knows well my feelings on that sort of thing, so I'm sure that it's understated if it's there at all. So I'm gonna get into it. Amy's now given me a deadline, and I only have a few days, and I haven't really started this book yet, so I'm a little behind the time. So I'm gonna get to reading and give you an update when I'm a little further in and maybe understand kind of what the story is about a little bit more. So here we go. So I'm about 177 pages in now, and the kind of main plot is taken off. It is a quest story. Zélie, who is our main character, Zélie, I'm not sure. She is a descendant of the Magi. She's called a diviner, I'm not sure about that either. Her mother was a Magi and was killed in the raid, which is what they call when the king figured out a way to sever the connection between the Magi and the gods, because magic in this world was a gift to the Magi from the gods. So if you could sever that connection, then the magic would be gone. And then without access to their magic, they were basically defenseless. And he was able to wipe out pretty much anybody over the age of 13, because that's when your magic would manifest. Zélie meets the Princess Amari, who has stolen an artifact from her father because she witnessed her father killing her friend, her servant, who's also her only friend, who was a diviner. And grief and her anger over that, she steals this artifact and runs away with it and meets Zélie, who helps her get out of the city. And then through, you know, revelations, they go on this quest together to bring magic back to the world. So Zélie's kind of your chosen one and going on her quest to do big things. So that's kind of where we're at the point they've kind of hit the first stage in their quest. It's good. It's an interesting world, and it's an interesting magic system. The lore and the lore of the world is interesting, and they've gotten to this temple, and so it's kind of been a little bit of exposition as far as the history and the lore of how the magic came into the world. And it was interesting. It was interesting to read about it. It's cool. I like folklore, so pretty cool. Being chased, of course, by the king's men, the guards, who have been really terrible to the diviners. I don't know. And leading this group is Amari's brother, the Prince Inon, because at least from what his father told him was that if the Prince Inon could find Amari and basically bring her back without anybody finding out that it was her that stole this artifact, then they could keep it under wraps and Amari wouldn't have to be executed for treason. And so he's on this quest. And there's some things going on with him too. He's having kind of this magical things happen to him. that's making him really angry, and he thinks that Zaylee basically did this to him. So if he can kill her and stop this quest and kill Magik, then it will kill these things happening to him. There's these things happening with him, and he's getting really crazy over the deal. So it's kind of interesting to see what's going on with him, because according to the lore of the land, his heritage can't manifest magic. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And some pretty convenient things going on. Things that just kind of fall in place, and then they've gotten to this place, and oh, wouldn't you know, it's just exactly the right time to go on this quest that only can be done every 100 years. It's exactly the right time for that. Okay, sure. I don't know. Some of it's just a little bit overdone, but I mean, on the whole, I'm enjoying it. So far, there hasn't been anything that's really kind of blown me away, but it is interesting, and moving through it pretty quickly. So at least I think I can meet Amy's deadline of getting this done by Friday, and it is Monday. So anyway, it's getting late. I have to go to bed, so I'm gonna read some more hopefully tomorrow night probably, and update you again when I have something else to say about it. So we'll see you then. Okay, so I've now hit the halfway point-ish, which is about, I think, around 280 pages. The quest continues. It's kind of, it's hit a turning point. They've kind of gathered what they need, and now they're on their way to the big location, I think. Anyway, yeah, it's an interesting story. It's an interesting world. It's an interesting magic system, even though I'm not quite sure I understand it entirely. I'm a little confused on that point. The magic, how the magic works, I understand. And the lore of the magic, I understand that. This whole, like, why Zaylee has to be the one for the quest and the one to bring Magik back, and I'm a little confused on that point. I was a little inconsistent on that point. And I read over that chapter-ish like 3-4 times, and I'm still just not really understanding it. So I finally decided, whatever, it is what it is, we're gonna move on. So I did. Also not entirely sold on how this part of the quest has gone down. It's pretty simple, but yeah, it is. Anyway, again, the world building is very good. The writing is insane. I mean, it's so pretty and it's so good, and the way that she describes things, it's just such cool stuff. I just wish I liked the storyline, the plot better. It's just not really grabbing me. I'm not engaging with it very much, and I think that's really because of the characters. Right now, the only one that I'm getting much out of is Inon. His struggle with his situation is really interesting. The way he goes back and forth, like, with wanting to do what his father wants, as far as, like, you know, wiping out all the magic, and then fighting against, you know, where he's almost sympathizing. You know, that struggle back and forth is really interesting to read about. Especially, like, this kid goes way, I mean, his mood swings are crazy. So that's all really interesting. But the others, I mean, Zane doesn't even get, Zaylee's brother, doesn't even get a point of view in this. So you don't get a whole lot from him anyway. But Amari and Zaylee, I don't know. It's real surface level. And the thing is the way the plot is going, it's like action thing after action after action, just one thing after another constantly. So it's not leaving a lot of time for a character work. And, one of the things that I always enjoyed about a quest story is, when you have your group of adventurers, it's the scenes around the fireside where they're, they're talking and they're getting to know one another, and you get a lot of character and relationship building at that point. And there just really hasn't been. And as far as how Zaylee feels about Amari, it's really confusing to me. I don't really get what she's doing. I don't know. I don't get her character very much at all. But anyway, we've now hit the point where Inan has kind of joined up with them, kind of, I think. I'm not real thrilled on how that went down. Kind of cheesy to me. It's what happened. So anyway, I'm kind of at the point where I think there's a turning point here where he's no longer hunting them. He's joined them, I think, because, right in the middle of his big realization, another action thing happened. So again, no relationship building, no discussions, nothing, another action thing. And so they were kind of interrupted, and so I think he's gotten to the point where he's now joining them. He's kind of gotten over this, my father was wrong and everything was lies, which it really wasn't, but whatever. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I just, at this point, if I didn't have to read this book, I would probably be putting it down. Not DNFing it really, but just to say that I'm not in the mood for this. I'm not in a space where I want to read this right now. But yeah, here we are. I am really glad I'm halfway through. This is a chunk of a book, so I'm really glad I've hit the halfway point. And, maybe now that Inan has joined them, maybe we'll get a little more character building, a little more relationship building. I mean, you can obviously see just from past interactions that there's an enemies to lovers thing that's probably gonna happen here. So maybe there'll be at least a little more insight into Zaylee's personality and character. And there's already been hints of Amari and Zane, so maybe I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know. All I can do at this point is keep going, and see what happens. And like I said, it's not a bad book by any means. I'm just kind of bored. All of this action going on, and I'm kind of bored. But like I said, we'll keep going, see what happens.
Okay. Hey guys, so I am currently on my way home from my brother's house, and I thought that, while I have this little 45-minute drive, that it would be a great time to give a little update on my blind date with the book. Spinning Silver. So I'm about halfway through the book so far, and my thoughts. It's okay, Kelly, I'm sorry. It's just okay so far. It took the majority of the first half of the book to actually just kind of like set up the world, and there wasn't a whole lot of like magical aspects that were going on. There was like a little bit, but not a whole lot, so it was honestly a little bit boring to me in the beginning, but now we're finally just starting to get into some of the more like reasons why this is a fantasy book, and so now I'm like really kind of starting to get more into it, and there's a little bit more like intense moments of just like, oh my gosh, is she gonna get caught? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, is he gonna kill her? Like, there are some things happening where I'm just like, okay, I kind of need to know, like, I need to read so I can figure out what's gonna happen. So it's really starting to pick up now. The characters so far are okay. It took me a little while because it keeps changing the POV throughout the different chapters, and then also like within the chapters there'll be like page breaks, and then it'll switch to another character. like it just takes me a second. So that was a little bit of a struggle, but I'm starting to like really kind of like, okay, this girl is married to this guy, and this girl is this princess. Like, it's all coming together now in my brain. It just took me half the book to get there. So totally not on the author. I don't think, like, I think that's more of a me problem. But yeah, like I said, I think it's really starting to pick up now. I'm starting to enjoy it a little bit more. I still would have to say that it's probably sitting at about a 3 out of a 5 star. Like, I still think that it's okay. Hopefully there will be a lot more action and stuff that happens in the second half of the book, because if not, I don't know if I'm gonna change my rating at all. Like, I really want this to be a good, like a high rated book, like 4 to 5 stars. So we'll see. Right now it's sitting at a 3, and hopefully, like I said, that changes. But if not, 3 is not a terrible rating. It just was okay. It's a lot better than a 1 or a 2, so I guess that's what it ends up being. I'll take it. But yeah, I don't know if I'll update you guys or not later if I think of anything else to say before I get together with Kelly and we discuss the book. Maybe if something like crazy happens, then I'll check in. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Spinning Silver so far.
Okay, so I am another, I think, 100 pages in from where I was last time. And it's about the same. I mean, again, that the lore and the magic and all of that is interesting, but y'all, this book is just so much. I mean, everything is so much. It's so huge. Nothing is like built. There's no room to build here because everything is just so big off the get-go. And it's like that through the whole thing. I mean, this book is so much. So I'm going to stop myself right there. Oh, sorry for the backdrop. I'm at work and my office could definitely use one of Amy's organizing videos, but so I'm going to stop myself right there because last night I was tired and I was hungry and I was just rambling on about how disappointing I find the rambling in this book. But the main gist of what I was going to say last night is that well, I do find the world and the magic, again, as I've said over and over, it's so interesting, and the concept is really cool, is that I just find the plot is just kind of all over the place, and the characters are just kind of all over the place, and it just doesn't feel like there's any forward progression. And, another thing I really like about quest stories is the growth that you see. How the characters learn and grow and maybe, find out more about what they need to do to finish their quest. And maybe the quest itself might change and evolve, and it may not be what the characters thought starting out and doing things. But I'm just not seeing that here. And it seems like there's just starts and stops and no actual real forward progression. The characters seem to flip-flop over in what they think and what they believe and how they act, and where there's some forward movement and then it just flops back again, and then it might move forward, but it never kind of seems to go past the point where they were before they flip back. So it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of growth going on here. And I just, again, even with Anon, who has been my favorite character of the ones that we have a viewpoint with, even he is starting to wear me out with the changing that he does and the way they go back and forth. And I just don't feel like I can tell the character's main motivations other than what's on the surface. It just doesn't seem to dig a lot deeper than that. But I don't know. I did read a little bit more last night. I didn't get much more done like I wanted to. But hopefully today I'll be doing some more reading and finishing up tonight because I have to be done by tomorrow. So
We'll be finishing that up, and it did take another turn that I kind of wasn't expecting, and now I don't know where this is gonna go. I don't even know if they're gonna go forward and do the ritual at all. Again, with the flip-flopping, at the point where I left off reading, even Zaylee was questioning whether or not she should bring magic back, and I just like, oh man, I just don't know what these characters are gonna do, and nothing quite makes a lot of sense to me and how it's working. So, again, less than 200 pages left. They still haven't started off to this place where the ritual's supposed to go, and now there's been this other interruption, and so I don't know what's gonna go on. So, just gonna keep reading and find out.
Everybody dies in this book. Everybody. Why does everybody have to die in this book?
So I finished the book. Finished it last night, actually. So got in by the skin of my teeth with a few hours to spare because Amy is going to be here pretty quick, and we're going to get together and do our wrap up and talk about the books. But just to say, the last 150 pages of this book were phenomenal. I mean, honestly, saved the story for me for the most part. All of the character work that was there, it was so good. I wish it had been there through the whole book. Especially Amari. I mean, my gosh, she like came through there at the end with just the coolest storyline. It probably would have raised it, in my opinion, if like for star rating, from a 3 to a 4, if it hadn't been for Anon. And I was so disappointed because he had been my favorite character just because he was so interesting. Even though he flip-flopped, even though he changed his mind all the time, even though he couldn't seem to grow a backbone to save his life, not like Amari did. Holy cow, that girl grew a backbone. But Anon didn't. He absolutely caved, and his deal at the end, I mean, it was just, his whole character just fell apart for me at that point. I mean, it just, basically he reverted back, like all of that in between just hadn't even happened. So that was disappointing, and that was probably my only complaint about that ending, though. I mean, it was wonderful. If the entire book had been written in that fashion, loved it. I would have loved it. Excuse me. But it's okay. It wasn't. I wish that the rest of the book hadn't been quite so much, so that it would have been a natural buildup, and this would have been the big ending. But because everything else in the book was so very much, this was just like another piece, you know, one more thing. It just really, except that it was at the end and it was finally the ritual and all of that. But otherwise, you know, for level of action, for level of intensity, for level of drama, it was just pretty much the same as what had been in the rest of the book. But it was definitely the character work that saved it in the end. So anyway, loved that ending. Stuck the landing. Absolutely. I'm glad that I stuck with it. I'm glad I had to stick with it to get to that ending, because it was pretty cool. So anyway, like I said, Amy will be here in just a little bit, and we're going to sit down together and film our reactions. I'm really interested to see what she thought of the book I picked for her and to share my thoughts with her. So we'll probably see you in just a little bit.
Okay, so we're both back from our dates. How do you feel like yours went?
It was okay.
Is there gonna be a second date? You know there's a sequel to this.
I know. I think I don't know yet.
Okay.
Okay, how about you?
It was also okay. no second date.
No second date.
This just isn't the book for me. Like, I didn't feel that connection.
Oh, our first experiment did not go well.
No.
We're not good matchmakers.
Not for each other with books, apparently.
Apparently not. Apparently not.
Yeah. I don't know. And they did pick up the check at the end, though, so that was pretty nice. I enjoyed that.
Well, there you go. There you go.
And ended on a happy note.
Always a gentleman.
Yeah.
Always a gentleman. Well, as you can tell, we have not at this point seen each other's reading vlogs, so we have no idea going into this what each of us thought of any of it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're here to discuss.
The date started off really slow. The book
Mhm.
was slow. The whole first half of it was a little boring, quite frankly. But I understand why it had to be that way, because it had a whole world that needed to be built, and world building is usually boring. So, no, not so much. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I felt like,
It depends on how it's done, of course.
I felt
it
like-
always does.
yeah, I don't know. I felt like this one was just a little boring in the way that it went about to build the world, because it was kind of like the same thing over and over again. Like, here she's walking to this house and she's going and collecting the money, and like just like a whole bunch of kind of like Cersei nonsense, where it's like we're doing the same thing all the time, and there wasn't any like fantastical elements like really in the first half of the book.
No.
So that also
Tiny hints.
Yeah.
But no, there really wasn't. It was really about establishing Miriam's character
Mhm.
and building up to that point, so that when the fantastical thing happened, you understood what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
And in the relationship with the other girl, I can't remember her name now. Wanda. Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, so I understand why it had to be done,
Yep.
and it was done well. It was just slow.
Yes, it was.
But once I got past the first half of the book and actually started getting into like the whole magical realm and like all of that kind of stuff, then it started to get better. It held my
Mhm.
attention a little bit more.
It definitely picks up speed.
Uh-huh.
It does.
Sure.
Mhm.
Sure. It gets more interesting. I wouldn't say it picked up speed. I think it got more interesting to me, because there wasn't a point in this book where I was just like flipping through pages trying to like figure out what's going to happen next.
Mhm.
Like, it was kind of like okay, I really need to read in this book. Like, I really need to, like, I didn't hate it, but it also wasn't one where I felt the need to have to keep reading.
Going.
Yeah. I didn't like the multiple POVs either.
Really?
No. So the book started out first person, one point of view,
Right.
and I was great and fine with that. And then we branched off and we had 2 point of views. I'm like, okay, I can manage this. By the end of the book, there were like 6 of them, and at least 2 of them were unnecessary. At least 2 of them. Like, I didn't need to hear from the little child, Stepan, or whatever his name was,
Mhm.
and I didn't need to hear from Magra either, the maid or whatever, her lady in waiting or whatever it was. And what is she called?
I don't remember that one.
The old woman that was like to the Tsarina.
Oh, right. God, I forgot about that whole storyline. Oh my gosh. It's been a really long time since I read this book. Like, at least 2 months. No, I'm kidding. It's been a couple of years since I read that book. So I'd forgotten about that whole storyline.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think
With
that.
the whole mirror,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was cool. I like that mirror aspect of it, but like I said, I didn't think that their 2 point of views needed to be there at all. It's completely unnecessary, and I honestly kind of just skimmed through them.
Yeah,
I reached the entire scene.
I kind of remember that too, because I really didn't feel like there was much of a point in that
No, like I didn't get anything out of
to
it.
go there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, except for, wasn't that where the Tsar was like possessed or something
Yeah. So
by
by a demon.
by the demon that was attacking the ice world, right?
Yes.
Wasn't that it? Yeah.
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 Yeah. But their point of views really didn't add anything to the
No.
storyline at all.
No. I don't
So
think
I would have much rather preferred to see a point of view from the Tsar who was possessed, because I don't think that they really showed too much from him. There weren't too many
No.
POVs from him. And I also would have liked to have seen it from the Starrick King. Or the Starrick King. Oh my gosh. He was my favorite character in this book.
Right?
Hands down favorite
Right?
character. He was the only one that I cared about. That, like, everyone else could have died, and if he would have lived, I would have been happy. Like,
I don't know that I go that far, but I did
Oh.
really like him.
there wasn't a
as
single
character.
character other than him that I was like
You didn't like
invested in.
Miriam?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
I loved Miriam.
Oh no. I don't know. Once she kind of like grew a bit of a backbone and like started to like realize, okay, I'm smart and capable and I can do these things, then I started liking her a little bit more. But it still wasn't like, I still didn't like her enough to be like, oh, I really hope you don't die.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the moment when the king got pierced with the spear by the stupid guard, I about reached through this book and I just to the guard, like, because I about strangled him to death, because I'm like, no, he cannot die. He's the only one that I care about.
Oh, yeah. No, he wasn't going to die.
No, I'm really glad he did.
But, okay, so, but wasn't it kind of cool, the whole spinning into gold thing? I mean, when he had her in the cave and she was supposed to turn the silver into gold, I thought that was kind of neat. I thought she was pretty clever.
I think that,
In
yes,
that case.
yes. The
I
way
thought that
that
was
she
clever.
handled that was very clever, and I give her props for that.
Yes.
Like, that was awesome. And
I liked their interaction
Yes.
during that time, too.
I like their entire back and forth. Like,
Mhm.
once she was in the kingdom and everything, like, it was really cute. And I kind of was wondering to myself, like, okay, maybe this is a little bit like Beauty and the Beast, like, kind of starting out enemies to lovers sort of a thing, you know, captive, captor to lovers. And in the end, of course, that's what happened. I was so excited.
Wasn't that the coolest ending, though?
Gosh, yes.
Wasn't it? I
It
mean,
was.
seriously?
It was, and that's why I'm just like, this book,
loved it.
that's why I was like, this book picked up the bill at
Yeah.
the end, because,
Yeah.
like, that was amazing.
I did love that ending. I loved how it went. I just thought it was perfect.
Yeah, like, the whole time I was, like, hoping, just like, okay, like, please like him, like, to Miriam. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted her to like him so badly. And I literally wrote in my notes, I'm like, please let this end with love. Please let this end with love. And then when it did, I was like, OMG, yes! In my notes, I'm like, yes!
Yeah.
Oh,
See, and in one of her other books, Uprooted, the end of it, oh, wait, have you read that book? Maybe I shouldn't tell you.
I haven't read it yet.
Well, I'll just say that it ended a bit more iffy.
Okay.
Like, it was oh, I'm pretty sure they are, but are they really?
I don't like books like that.
You know?
I don't like books like that.
It's like, I'm pretty sure it was like the start of something,
Mhm.
but this one delivered. I
Yes.
mean, it was a definite, you knew how this was going to go.
so cute, and I loved how he, like, made like a grand gesture of it, and like did it
Yeah.
in the way for like her world.
Right.
Like, finally, because they had this whole thing back and forth the whole time about how, like, she's trying to understand how it works in his kingdom, and he doesn't really care about how it works in her kingdom.
Exactly.
But, you know, and that's what made it even more special there at the end for him
Yeah.
to just be like, I'm here to court, like, I want to
Yeah.
marry. Like, oh, it's just so freaking cute.
And it was just like, it was such a complete turnaround for,
Yes.
I mean, not complete, because he had his own pride involved in
he
it
was
too.
so prideful.
And he kept his pride. It wasn't like he groveled to her or anything,
Mhm.
but it was really neat how he, yeah,
Yeah. It was such a good ending.
it really was.
Like, it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely, like, brought the book up a lot for me. Like, and just overall feelings toward it. Like, oh, beautiful ending.
Yeah.
The fight scenes, though, with the Daemon and the... No.
No?
Those disappointed me so much. Because the initial one, where they brought the Stark King to the wedding, and then the demon
Yes.
showed up just as they're leaving. Like, the wedding's over, and now here the demon comes.
Oh, right.
And
Right.
it
That's
was
right.
just like, there wasn't a whole lot of action to it.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, oh, well, now you're done, demon, and then he's walking out, and Wanda's the one that actually, like, captures the Stark King, and then it's just like, alright, we're done, we got him. Like, that's it! this all-powerful king who can literally alter time is like, just, that's it? That's all it took? It was like a chain of silver and, you know, love, I guess? I don't know.
I don't know.
It was disappointing. And then the second one, the second little fight scene after that was also disappointing to me because it wasn't even the king that fought the demon and won. So I guess, like, if you're looking for a good, like, girl power feminist story, this one has a
Well,
lot of aspects of that in it.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Because Miriam was the one that
Well, it
saved
is.
the kingdom.
It is Miriam. But see, don't you think that brings it full? Because this is a Rumpelstiltskin inspired. And she is.
Very loosely.
But she is in this story Rumpelstiltskin. She's the one turning silver into gold.
Mhm.
And so it kind of has to be her.
Yes. Yes.
Because it involved that whole magic thing. So
Yeah.
it kind of had to be.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
That's fair. That's
know.
fair.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't hate the second one as much as I hated the first one, like the first little fight scene,
Mhm.
because that just seemed like it was kind of like over too quickly, and I don't know, like I feel like there should have been a little bit more back and forth, because apparently this demon also is supposed to be pretty powerful,
Right.
and it really, all the king had to do was just like blink at him and it was done, the demon. Like pretty much like, okay, now just swat the fly away, you know, I'm annoyed by you now and I'm off. Like, yeah.
Yeah, well, and it was the whole, like, this demon was like a fire demon.
Mhm.
So it was the whole, like, fire
Fire.
and ice thing.
Yeah.
I do remember that, you know, when she did the magic and, like, everybody's bowing down to her and she's like, what? What's going on?
Yeah. I liked her as their queen too. Like,
Mhm.
she wasn't, like, obviously she didn't want to be there, but she didn't treat the people badly.
No.
Like, she treated them with respect, even
No.
if they were servants or like whatever. Like,
Well-
she didn't take out her anger that she was there out on them, you know.
Right. She was trying to build relationships. And that was probably one thing that did bother me about this book, is it's obviously a fantasy world, and yet they made no bones about Miriam and her family being Jewish, along with all of the anti-Semitism in their village that goes along with that, all of the usual stereotypes. And I sometimes have a problem. It's like, if you're going to be a fantasy world, if you're going to build this whole different world, don't use things that are from our world. Make
Right.
up something. But yet, at the same time, it didn't bother me as much in this book as it did in The Wolf and the Woodsman. That was just, I don't know. I think because in that one, she tried to change words around to make it sound like it was different, but it was so rote by rote, the same exact thing. So, I mean, it did a little bit, because I was like, okay, what world are we in? Is this
Yeah.
just a magical part of our world, like, you know, some made-up kingdom in our own world? Or, like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. But I think she wrote it very well.
Mhm.
I don't think there was at any point when I was like, oh no, here we go. Can this be any more overdone? You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
they were treated badly without being horribly persecuted.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was well done.
Yeah. Speaking of people being treated badly, another aspect of this book that I did not like, there was a lot of abuse in it.
Yeah.
A lot.
There was.
Especially towards, well, obviously there was some domestic violence that was happening with kids and things like that, which I didn't appreciate. And then also there was like mental abuse as well, mental and emotional abuse. And the poor Tsarina, every time somebody
Yeah.
was just like, you're so ugly. And like the whole Tsar was like, what do people see in you? Like, why do people think that you're beautiful? Like, how? And like the whole thing where he kept drawing her pictures, like, how do you think this is beautiful?
He
And
was
I'm like,
just a child all the way around. Just a child that he didn't want to get married, and he wanted his own way. And so he was a child all the way around. But I do think that he was meant to be that way in order to say that's how the demon was able to take control.
yeah.
Because this guy had, like, no moral background at all
Oh no.
that would save him from this demon or let him fight this demon. So,
Oh yeah, no. He welcomed that demon with open arms.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
He was like, I will give you a crown and all of the wealth and everything. And he's just like, okay,
Yeah.
sounds great. Just my soul. That's all you need. Psh, have it. You know, like, okay.
Yeah. So,
I think he regretted it eventually, but you know.
yeah. And that was Wanda and her family. That made me so sad.
Yeah,
It was so sad.
yeah, that was rough. And I
Mhm.
kind of did like the little cheer when her dad was killed.
Right? I know.
It's like,
He was
oh.
such an ass.
I don't usually cheer for that kind of stuff, but in this case.
Or when Wanda got the job, and then you started to see little glimmers of hope,
Yeah.
you know, that she might be okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I don't. And that was another reason why I liked how it ended too, was because they all were like one big happy family at the
Yeah.
end too. Like
Yeah.
they finally had like loving parents and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and yeah.
well, and that, you know, Miriam, because at the point when Wanda came to work for Miriam, Miriam had already started collecting debts, and so she was actually, and she would take whatever she got to the city for her grandfather to invest, which is why she kept making the boast of, I can turn silver into gold.
Mhm.
She didn't have the magic, she couldn't do it, but because she could invest it. But, so by the time Wanda comes along, Miriam actually has some money.
Yeah.
But, you know, Miriam treats Wanda really well, treats her, you know, respectfully, and Wanda, I think, is so grateful. But see, Wanda and her family had lived outside of the village, and it was a horrible situation that Wanda didn't have the same connections in the village to, I think, look down on Miriam and her family. And then because Miriam treated her so well, you know, Wanda respected her too.
Yeah.
So it was a good build for the relationship.
Mhm. I'm not giving up on Naomi Novik. Actually, I was reading it at work today and like finishing it up, and some lady, she came around the cubes and she saw that I was reading this book, and she's like, she literally stopped. She's like, I love Naomi Novik.
Yay! I think one of the reasons I like it so much, it is one of my favorite books, is that in this one and the other one, Uprooted, it's such a fairy tale feel. It's, you know, the world building, the way she writes, the story itself, it's very storytellish.
Yeah.
Because Uprooted, there it is a Beauty and the Beast one.
Okay.
It's that one. But I think, and I've come to find that I really like fairy tale retellings,
Yeah.
or fairy tale style. That's what I like about those books very much, is the atmosphere that she builds. It really draws me in.
You're definitely right on putting this on your winter reading Rex.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
I was even more cold reading this book. It was just so much cold. And then when it actually became spring, or like it was warm, those few little passages in there, I was so angry because I'm just like, I want that to happen here. I was about to go seek out a Star at King and figure out why there's still winter in Kansas. I was about to take him down myself, you know?
Okay.
Okay.
So
tell me about your date. Your date. Spill tea.
My turn. So,
Oh boy.
yeah.
Oh no.
Okay, so same thing. It actually picked up the check at the end. That ending could not, well, okay, I won't say that. I was going to say it could not have been more perfect. Yes, it could have. But it was so good. It was so much of what I wanted through the whole book. Yeah, well, I can repeat all my vlogs. I love this world. I love this magic. I love the lore behind the magic, the gods, and, you know, the connection there that lets them do their magic. But holy cow. Okay, so Zelly,
Mhm.
I did not like her.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, I did
She
not
was
like
not my favorite character in that book.
Did not like her. But I loved her at the end. I loved when she figured out, because I've said all this on my blog, but there's the 3 objects that they had to gather up, which they didn't really gather up, and take them off, do this ritual, blah, blah. So one's a scroll, and Anon tricks her into destroying the scroll because he thinks magic is too dangerous to bring back into the world. And she figures out how to complete the ritual without it, which I thought was very clever. I thought it very much fit with the story. I thought the message of it was wonderful, and I was applauding her at the end. Through the rest of the book, no, I was not.
No.
Anon was my favorite character up to the end because he was the most interesting. I did not like him, but he was the most interesting because he seemed to be the only one that had any sort of internal conflict at all.
Yeah.
But the flippin' floppin', oh my gosh, that man went back and forth and back and forth.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Wow. So, yeah, I mean, but he had, most of the time he had reason for it, but it was like, okay, it's time to get past this now. I get why you're doing it, but now it needs to be over.
Yeah.
Okay? Zelly just seemed like it was just bring magic back, make my mama proud. That was like it. Because, we're so persecuted, and the only way we're not going to be persecuted is if we have magic and we can fight back. Make them respect us. Which, okay, but there was nothing ever, like, she kept saying she was struggling with it. Like, she would say, I'm not the right person for this job. You have to pick somebody else. I can't do this. But she wouldn't act that way.
Right.
She would say, I'm afraid. I'm afraid all the time. But she didn't act that way. And she had plenty of reason to be afraid. No doubt. Her people were horribly persecuted. But she never acted that way. Like, she was fairly cocky in the way she acted. And then Amari, who's the third point of view, well, she just floated along until the end. The end was perfect. If she had been that way through the whole book, I would have loved her. She was there because her father murdered her friend servant. She was one of the, descendants of the Magi, and Amari's father, the king, had figured out this scroll could bring magic back, so he forced Binta to touch it, and when her magic manifested, he killed her. And Amari witnessed it all. And so the whole way through the book, that's like the only reason she was there. She needed to avenge Binta because she didn't help her when she needed to. Until the end. And then the end, like all of these motivations and all of the stuff came out of her that was perfect. I'm like, where was that? Where? Because the whole way through she was a mouse. An absolute mouse. And then after, oh my god, the big gladiator scene where she basically froze.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then afterward everybody's like calling her the Legionnaire, and she was like, oh, I don't deserve it, I didn't do anything. But by the end she's like, I am the Legionnaire. I'm like, what? No, you aren't. But towards the end she kept saying, I will be the lead. I'm like, girl, you never were.
No.
Damn. Anyway, and then Anon, he let me down at the end, let me down hard. I mean, he just like caved hard. All of these grand plans and grand ideals that he had just disintegrated, and he caved to his father.
Oh, that made
Hard.
me so angry.
Right? So hard.
Angry.
And then he, betrayed Zelly, and it was terrible. I hated him at the end. I was like, that is just no. He was so naive to the point of stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, after all you've seen through this whole book, after everything you've said, after every conversation you've had, you still are this naive?
Right. And with how close he had grown to Zelly,
Yes.
it's like, you're really just gonna just do that? Like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. And what did you think was going to happen? Oh, his character fell apart at the end. So that's like the one thing in the ending that I did not like. The other thing was, this book was so, I said it before, so much. Like, everybody dies all the time.
Yeah.
So really, by the time we get to the end, which it never felt like a good build-up. It just felt like, Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because everything was so much. I mean, we could have built into that so that the end was like, big deal. It wasn't. The other thing was, I just didn't get why Zelly was the one to be doing this, because when they went to the temple in the first times, they had the scroll, and then they were directed by somebody to go to this temple where they could find direction, somebody that could tell them what to do. Well, okay, so they meet him, and anyway, this guy tells them that there's this ritual that one of the, I can't pronounce half of these words, but the people that were at this, the magi that were lived like in this temple, were a different sort of magi, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, one of their members would, every 100 years, go to this island to do this ritual. So I was like, okay, so then, but he couldn't do it. Only Zelly could.
Which
And-
makes no sense.
I don't know why. I mean, obviously she was the only diviner or magi in their group. But he said he couldn't do it because they were a different sort of magi. It did not make sense, because it should have been him. In his whole explanation, it was a member of his group that would go and, because they had a direct connection to Sky Mother. And so that was why they could do that, and then through their efforts, they maintained the other gods' connections to the other magi. But he couldn't do the ritual. It had to be someone else. I don't know. Anyway, it was never, I read that section like 4 times trying to figure this out, and it just didn't happen. But it was inconsistencies like that through the whole thing that just didn't, it just didn't make sense. Anyway, for everything that was happening, though, it was all so much that I was bored. Yeah, because I just got deadened to it all. And
It's like, oh,
plus,
someone else died.
yeah, okay, sure. Because why wouldn't they? Everybody dies in this book. But also because, I mean, and it's like really fast paced. The chapters are short, and so it reads pretty quick. But, and it is action after action, and one thing after another. But yet there's nothing to support it. There's no good story structure to support all this. So it just feels like, well, we're going to one thing, then we're going to this thing, then we're going to this thing. And there's no character growth involved. There's no relationship development between the characters involved. I think I said in one of my things, it's like no sitting around the campfire talking and getting to know each other and anything like that. So that there's character growth involved. There was no character growth in this, like, at all. And non-flipped and flopped so much, he never really actually grew.
No.
And Zelly didn't. Zelly had no challenges, really, to her own drive to go forward. So she never
Will to
really...
live.
Well, she never really had any challenge to her beliefs, to her ambition. You know, her ambition was to bring magic back, free her people, and make her mama proud. That was it. And she had no challenges to that at all. Nothing that rocked her worldview at all until the end. And, which, you know, of course she was captured and tortured, but at least she didn't die.
Which is rare in this book.
Which is rare. Which is, okay, so another thing about the end, oh my gosh. Like, everybody's dying right and left at the end,
Yeah.
except for all your main characters.
Yes.
Somehow they all made it out unscathed. Well, except supposedly Anon is dead, but I don't believe that. But, anyway, yeah, she never really had any challenges. You know, even with Amari, you know, it wasn't like, she did not like Amari until Amari saved her life one time. And then she was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I like you.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any, like, could you see, like, having discussions with Amari or getting to know Amari that maybe Zelly could have seen the other side a little bit differently?
Tried to get to know her reasonings better.
But yeah, but then, okay, I think you're okay now, and now we're best friends.
Yeah.
There was no, and the same thing with Anon. I mean, there was actual real hatred here. In the beginning, when he first figured out that he had magic, which, why? I don't know. When he first had magic awakened, he thought Zelly did it. And he hated her. Hated her. This maggot is not going to do this to me. You know, kill her, kill the magic. That was his thing. He hated her. And then it was, which this is the flippin' floppin', because, you know, in the beginning, he was feeling all this guilt because when the village was burnt down, or their little town was burnt down, and all those people died, and he was feeling, this isn't the kind of country I want to, you know, have, and this isn't what I want to do, and we need to build a better Orisha, and all of this. And then he hated her. Hated her. And then, well, maybe she's not so bad. and then he hated her again. He thought that magic was too dangerous. Too many people would get hurt, and he couldn't keep his country together if magic came back. They had to work together, but with no magic. Okay. Because that's going to solve your power imbalance right there. Anyway, yeah, he just kept going, well, then maybe we should bring magic back. Well, then, no, I don't think we should. Even Zelly at one point was like, no, we're not going to do this. And I didn't like Anon and Zelly's romance.
No.
It made no sense. There was no build up to it in any way. It was just 1 second, I hate you. The next second, well, maybe you're okay.
Yeah.
And then, I love you.
Yeah. And I think that was also why the ending was so frustrating too, because it was another instance of, you know, the whole flipping and flopping.
Exactly.
You know, like
Exactly. Well, and, you know, his reasoning for it was, it's too dangerous. Magic is too dangerous, and I have to save Zelly from herself, kind of thing. But that's where the naive comes in, the naivete, because what did he has seen what his father can do. What was he expecting if magic was destroyed once and for all?
Right.
What did he think was going to happen at that point? No, just no. No. He was either incredibly stupid, or that storyline was just not well done. And I don't know. I can tell you, I don't know. The whole incredibly stupid just might be the thing.
I think it is.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, like I said, the world, I love the world. I love the magic. I love the lore behind it. That was so amazing. And the ending, yeah, it nailed it. Nailed the end. If all of those characters, the character work at the end was so good. If that had been through the whole book, yeah.
Could have been a 5-star read.
Could have been. But I will say, because isn't this the book that you recommended when we read Who Fears Death? And you said if you want a better, that is true. I mean, it didn't have to work very hard.
True.
to do much better than Who
The
Fears
bar
Death.
was set pretty low for
The
that.
bar was low, but still, yeah, definitely. I really don't think I care to read the second one. I'll just have you tell me what it is,
Okay.
because I really don't. I mean, the ending nailed it, and it wasn't really a cliffhanger, but it was enough of a hook of things happening that they didn't explain. Like, all of a sudden, oh, there's this. It's almost enough to make me want to read just to find out, but yet I don't want to slog through another 500 pages just to find out. I just don't.
I think the second one's shorter.
Is it?
I think so.
I
don't know.
I
I'd
don't
have to
care.
look.
Because it was, I mean, and that's what's so weird is that it's a fast read. I mean, I read it in like 3 days, 3.5, whatever, for over 500 pages. So it reads fast, short chapters, lots of action, but I was bored, and it was kind of a slog. But I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad I finished it because, yeah, that ending, that was really good. and that saved most of the book for me. I put it in the middle, like a 3-star read, and the ending almost lifted it to a 4-star. If Anon hadn't been so damn stupid, it would have been 4 stars. Even though I slugged my way through the whole thing, that end, I mean, really. So it would have probably lifted it a bit. But he was a
Dang it,
stupid.
Anon.
He was stupid.
He was. The whole way through the book, he
Well,
was.
and see, here's another thing. This, I don't think he's dead. Because the bandit dude, Rowan, is that his name?
I think so.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it or not, but anyway, he came in. He's very obviously interested in Zelly. And by golly, how can we have a love triangle if the other part isn't there? And I know there's a love triangle. You can just see it coming. You've got 2 guys, polar opposites of each other. Both of them obviously interested in your main character. And one supposedly dies at the end. No. And that's all. I hate love triangles. So I pretty much killed it for them too. Anyway, I think that's it. As much as that sounded like a rant, I mean, it really, she's an incredible writer. She really is. I don't know if I can find the one spot. It's the very beginning when Amari is at a luncheon with her mom and a bunch of nobles. She's describing them and how fake they are and how much they gossip and all of this. And it says they wear their secrets like glittering diamonds, embroidery woven through their lavish booba tops and wrapped arrow skirts. Their lies and lily-scented perfumes taint the honeyed aroma of sweet cakes I am no longer allowed to eat. That was so good. It was such a cool description. And that's like all the way through. So, I mean, it's really good. Very good writing. I think that she probably just needs to do a little work on characters and pacing some things. But other than that, yeah. But yeah, I don't want to read another one.
Oh, darn.
No second date, thank you.
Well, you know, we tried. We
did. It was fun though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Are we willing to play matchmaker with each other?
Heck yeah, this was fun.
Okay, yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
Cool.
We'll definitely do this again. I think it's interesting. Because, and see, the thing is, on our book clubs, we have been agreeing so much
Yeah.
on our book clubs.
It's
I mean,
weird. It's
yeah.
almost concerning.
Because in our real life, when we had our real life book club, we would argue. Excuse me, we would argue all the time.
Straight up arguing.
Yeah.
Like, Kelly would be at a 1 star, and I would be like, this is the greatest book ever. And it would be a literal, like, argue back and forth about how, like, oh, but this was so cute. It's like, that was stupid.
That was so not cute. Are you
No.
kidding me?
It's like, you liked Apollonia?
She did.
I
And that
did.
is the dumbest book ever. And I am including that in Who Fears Death. I'm talking dumb. Wow.
I thought it was cute.
It was not cute. It was not cute. I had serious problems with that book. Serious.
As you can see, I still have PTSD from those arguments.
Wow. That was so bad. But anyway, I think it's good because, I mean, obviously, this was Amy's fave. Because you had it on your favorites list, didn't you?
Mhm.
That we did. And this one was one of my favorites. And it didn't get on my favorites list because I read it like 2-3 years ago. But it obviously one of my winter records. But, so, at least you see a little disagreement, finally, from us. So,
Yeah, it's about time.
it's about time.
Yeah.
But I also think it's just fun to see, like, what you didn't like about it that I did like. Or the parts of it that we both did like.
Mhm.
And it seems like maybe in both of them, like, our problems with it are the pacing and the way it's written, not necessarily the story itself.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know
no,
what I
I had
mean?
no problems with this story.
Yeah,
at
me
all.
either.
Like, I thought it was a really interesting concept and
Mhm.
everything. And
Yeah.
she's not a bad writer.
No,
So.
no, she's not. So I think, and mine was pacing, obviously. I
Yeah.
think Tomi needs to pace herself just a little bit.
And I think there needs to be more action in this as well.
Mhm.
So, again, pacing.
Pacing. So there you go.
Alright, well, we'll
So
try
yeah,
and
I'm
find...
gonna do it again.
Heck yeah!
I mean, I think even though we didn't like each other's books, I think it was successful. We
I
did what
think
we
so,
needed
too.
to do.
And
So.
I'm glad that neither one of us came out of this, like, hating. the book.
No,
Like,
no.
3 stars
Mhm.
is...
It's not bad.
It's not
That's
bad.
not a bad rating.
You know?
It's for me, when in my ratings, it's a meh.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't hate it, but I'm not gonna read it again. And it was okay. It was interesting.
Yeah. I don't feel like it was a waste of my time.
No. But it did. It was definitely, because with Who Fears Death, it was the world, the concept of the world, that was so interesting to me. And the same with this. And this one was done better. So it's like, gosh, if I could find a book, another one with the same kind of, oh, see, that was another thing. Remember when I was talking about not liking real world stuff in fantasy worlds? We shouldn't even bother to change the names. The city names. This was like
Oh.
Nigeria. So for a while I was like, well, is this some kind of post-apocalyptic Nigeria? Or is this like a pre-history Nigeria? I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. Anyway, just that kind of African influenced the religions and lore, and it was really good. And I mean, I might try her again. If she ever did an adult book, I would definitely give it a try. Because I really enjoy that setting and that heritage and that history and that folklore. It's so cool. I just gotta yet find a book that tells a good story to go along with it. So there you go.
Yeah. Those are blind dates.
Yep,
With books.
with books.
With books. Soon to be a series, or is a series now.
Is a series.
It's happening.
The first step. Now we've committed it. The battery's dying too.
Oh, so we gotta
So let's wrap
it
her up.
Alright, well, if you guys enjoyed watching this video and listening to us talk about our blind dates with these books, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And also, go down below the video and hit the little red subscribe button if you are not already subscribed to the channel. Because you don't want to miss out on any of these
No.
amazing book videos.
No. And be sure to check out Amy's channel for more book stuff, as well as all other kinds of lifestyle things like home decor and fashion and shopping and travel and just all kinds of stuff. Check it out.
Yeah. Especially if you like spring cleaning and organizing and all that, because I have a huge series that I'm doing on my channel right now, so
It's good stuff.
it is.
Good stuff. I'm gonna
Yeah.
hire her.
It is top to bottom cleaning every room in my house, so it's happening.
I'm gonna hire her. She can come to my house.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. That better be all for us because we are about ready to die. So
Yeah, the battery.
Not in the book. Yeah, no.
Camera battery's about to die, so
Yeah.
it's telling us, let's go, girls.
Not like
So,
this book.
Yeah. Anyway, alright, well, I'm Amy,
And I'm Kelly.
and we are
The Everyday Epic.
We'll see y'all in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.